The Sad Life of Mr. T. Mr. T was born Lawrence Tero on May 21, 1952, in Chicago, Illinois, the youngest son in a family with 12 children. Tureaud, with his 4 sisters and 7 brothers, grew up in a 3-room apartment in the Robert Taylor homes. His father, Nathaniel Tureaud, was a minister. After his father left when he was 5, he shortened his name to Lawrence Tero. In 1970, he legally changed his last name to T. His new name, Mr. T, was based upon his childhood impressions regarding the lack of respect from white people for his family. Tureaud attended Dunbar Vocational High School where he played football, wrestled, and studied martial arts. While at Dunbar he became the citywide wrestling champion 2 years in a row. He won a football scholarship to Prairie View A&M University, where he majored in mathematics, but was expelled after his first year. Mr. T is a born-again Christian. Mr. T has 3 children, 2 daughters, one of whom is a comedian, and a son from his ex-wife. In 1980, Mr. T was spotted by Sylvester Stallone while taking part in NBC's America's Toughest Bouncer competition, a segment of NBC's games people play. Although his role in Rocky III was originally intended as just a few lines, Mr. T was eventually cast as Clubber Lang, the primary antagonist. His catchphrase "I pity the fool" comes from the film. Mr. T appeared in another boxing film, Penitentiary 2, and on an episode of the Canadian sketch comedy series Bizarre, where he fights and eats Super Dave Osborne, before accepting a television series role on the A-Team. He also appeared in an episode of Silver Spoons, reprising his old role as bodyguard to the character Ricky Stratton. In the episode, he explains his name as first name, Mr., middle name, period, last name T. In one scene, when Ricky's class erupts into a paper ball throwing melee, Mr. T throws his body in front of the objects, fully protecting his client. In the A-Team, he played Sergeant Bosco B. A. Baracus, an ex-Army commando on the run with 3 other members from the United States government. The series was a major hit, and B. A. Baracus in particular quickly became a cult character and the unofficial star of the show, reportedly sparking tensions with seasoned actor George Peppard, although Mr. T always maintained that these were unfounded rumors. His role in the A-Team led to him making an appearance in the long-running sitcom Different Strokes in the 6th season opener Mr. T and Mr. T, in which an episode of the A-Team is supposedly filmed in the family's penthouse apartment. Also in 1983, a Ruby Spears-produced cartoon called Mr. T premiered on NBC. The Mr. T cartoon starred Mr. T as he alters ego, the owner of a gym where a group of gymnasts trained. He helped them with their training, but they also helped him solve mysteries and fight crime in Scooby-Doo style scenarios. 30 episodes were produced. Each episode was bookended by short segments where the real Mr. T presented the theme of the episode, then gave a closing statement with a lesson for children loosely based on the events of the episode. The year 1983 also marked the release of the only film that can be called a Mr. T vehicle, DC Cab. While the film, featuring the ensemble as a ragtag taxi company trying to hustle their way to solvency and respectability, performed modestly at the box office, its $16 million take-ups exceeded its $12 million budget. It received mixed reviews critically. Also in 1984, he played the protagonist of the TV movie The Toughest Man in the World, as Bruce Brubaker, a bouncer also leading a sports center for teenagers, who takes part in a strongman championship to get funds for the center. And also in 1984, he released a rap mini-album called Mr. T's Commandments, featuring 7 songs, including the title theme for the aforementioned TV movie. In much the same tone as his 1984 educational video, it instructed children to stay in school and to stay away from drugs. He followed it up the same year with a second album, titled Mr. T's Be Somebody, or Be Somebody's Fool. featuring music from the eponymous film. Mr. T entered the world of professional wrestling in 1985. He was Hulk Hogan's tag team partner at the World Wrestling Federation's WrestleMania I, which he won. On January 19, 1985, he introduced Rich Little at the nationally televised 50th Presidential Inaugural Gala, the day before the second inauguration of Ronald Reagan. During those busy years, he made numerous appearances in television shows, most notably hosting the 15th episode of the 10th season of Saturday Night Live, along with Hulk Hogan. He had also made an appearance in that same show in October 1982, fresh from his role in Rocky III, in a recurring skit by Eddie Murphy called Mr. Robinson Neighborhood. In 1988, Mr. T starred in the television series T&T. Mr. T was once reported to be earning around $80,000 a week for his role in the A-Team and earning $15,000 for personal appearances. By the end of the 1990s, he was appearing only in the occasional commercial, largely because of health problems. Indeed, in 1995 he was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma. He frequently appears on the TBN Christian television network. On July 21, 1989, Mr. T made an appearance in World Class Championship Wrestling, seconding Kerry Von Erich. In 2002, Mr. T appeared as a bartender in the video for Pass the Cavassier, Part 2 by Busta Rhymes featuring Sean Combs and Pharrell Williams. In the 2009 animated movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Mr. T provided the voice for Officer Earl Devereaux, the town's athletic cop who loves his son very much. Mr. T was offered a cameo appearance in the film adaptation of the A-Team but decided to turn it down. Whereas Dwight Schultz and Dirk Benedict both made cameos in the film. These scenes were shown after the credits but were reinserted during the film in the extended cut. Although he wasn't disturbed at the mere prospect of an A-Team movie being made without him, he vehemently criticized the concept of having another actor copy his own very distinct appearance and style in the hope of attracting his nostalgic fanbase, and considered that asking him to do a cameo appearance in those conditions was disrespectful. On April 5, 2014, at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Mr. T was inducted by Gene Okerlund into the WWE Hall of Fame's Celebrity Wing. His acceptance speech, largely a tribute to his mother and motherhood rather than wrestling, ran long and was eventually interrupted by Kane. Mr. T is known for his roles as B.A. Baracus in the 1980s television series The A-Team and as Boxer Clubber Lang in the 1982 film Rocky III. Mr. T is known for his distinctive hairstyle inspired by Mandinka warriors in West Africa. The story of Mr. T is a sign of racism and he does not surrender to it, and above all comes from a poor background, and after his father left when he was 5, creating him in the present.